Tonight's breaking story is not rumor, it is not palace whispering, it is not tabloid exaggeration dressed up as journalism. What we are reporting tonight is documented, sourced, and unfolding in real time, and its consequences could leave Prince Harry and Meghan Markle without a home within months. This is not about strained family relationships, this is not about royal titles, this is not about media narratives or public sympathy, this is about a debt, a deadline, and a billionaire who has decided that his patience has run out. According to documents obtained by our investigative team, Tyler Perry, entertainment mogul, producer, and one of the wealthiest figures in American media, has issued a formal 30-day demand for repayment of a personal loan totaling approximately $16.2 million, including accrued interest. The loan was originally extended in June of 2020 to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to facilitate the purchase of their Montecito mansion. The repayment deadline was December 31, 2024. No payment was made, and now Tyler Perry has moved to enforce the contract. The demand letter sent January 15, 2025 by his legal representatives is unequivocal. It gives Harry and Meghan 30 days to remit full payment. If they fail, foreclosure proceedings will begin immediately. No extensions, no renegotiation, no alternative arrangements. Payment or loss. If that deadline passes without resolution, the property that has served as the symbolic centerpiece of Harry and Meghan's post-royal life will enter the California foreclosure pipeline. And once that machine begins moving, it is fast, public, and unforgiving. To understand how we arrived at this point, how a prince and a former actress, backed by global fame and lucrative media contracts, ended up facing foreclosure by a friend, we must go back to the moment when everything changed. January 2020, Harry and Meghan announced they are stepping back from royal duties. The decision is abrupt, the planning incomplete, the fallout immediate. What followed was not a graceful transition, but a logistical and financial scramble. They could not remain in the United Kingdom without a defined royal role. They did not yet have a permanent residence in the United States. Their security situation was volatile. Paparazzi attention was relentless. Their income streams, while promising, were not yet realized. They were for the first time in Harry's life on their own, and into that vacuum stepped Tyler Perry. At the time, Perry had never met Harry or Meghan personally, but through mutual industry contacts, he became aware of their predicament. He saw a couple he believed had been treated unfairly. A pair attempting to break free of an institution while under extraordinary pressure, and he decided to help. Tyler Perry owned an 18,000-square-foot mansion in Beverly Hills, valued at roughly $18 million. He offered it to Harry and Meghan rent-free, no lease, no publicity, no timeline. He also paid for their security out of his own pocket, knowing full well the cost and complexity involved. This was not business, this was compassion. From March 2020 through June 2020, Harry and Meghan lived in Perry's home. During that period, they negotiated major media contracts, Netflix, Spotify, production deals, speaking engagements. They rebuilt their public lives from the sanctuary Tyler Perry provided, and he asked for nothing. But by June 2020, they decided they wanted a permanent home. They identified a property in Montecito, California, a wealthy enclave known for privacy, prestige, and celebrity insulation. The price, $14.65 million. There was only one obstacle. They didn't have the money in liquid form. Their wealth existed largely on paper, trusts, inheritances, anticipated contracts. A conventional mortgage would require disclosures, credit scrutiny, and financial transparency they were reluctant to provide, so they turned once again to Tyler Perry. They asked him to loan them $14 million. They promised repayment within 4.5 years, by December 31, 2024. They agreed to pay 4% annual interest, below market but still substantial. Tyler Perry agreed, not because he needed the return, not because it was an optimal investment, but because he believed them. On June 18, 2020, the loan agreement was executed. Perry transferred $14 million. In return, he received a promissory note and a second position lien on the Montecito property. The structure was clear: interest-only payments for 4 years, followed by full principal and accrued interest at maturity. This was not informal, this was not casual. This was a legally binding obligation, and it rested entirely on trust. At the time, Harry and Meghan believed repayment would be easy. Netflix projections reportedly approached 9 figures. Spotify offered tens of millions. Speaking engagements were expected to command seven-figure fees. Books, endorsements, and brand ventures were assumed to follow. From that vantage point, a $16.2 million repayment seemed trivial, but projections are not income, and confidence is not cash. What followed over the next 4 years was not the financial ascent Harry and Meghan had envisioned, but a slow, grinding unraveling. Content output was inconsistent, projects stalled. Public sentiment cooled, corporate partners grew frustrated. Spotify terminated its deal in 2023 after missed deliverables. Netflix scaled expectations. Income arrived, but not at the pace or scale required to sustain their lifestyle. Meanwhile, expenses exploded. The Montecito mansion carried enormous maintenance costs. Security alone ran into the millions annually. Legal battles multiplied. Staff salaries, travel, PR, and personal expenses mounted relentlessly. By mid-2024, according to multiple sources, cash flow had become a serious concern. And then the loan deadline approached. In early 2024, Tyler Perry's business team began preparing for repayment. Communications were professional, routine, and calm. Initial responses from Harry and Meghan's representatives suggested everything was under control, but by summer the tone shifted. Responses became vague, plans lacked specificity, timelines blurred. By September 2024, Perry's attorneys sent more urgent inquiries requesting confirmation of available funds. No clear answers came. In November, Tyler Perry called Harry directly. The conversation, described by sources as tense, ended with Harry acknowledging that the funds were not immediately available, but promising they were working on it. December 31, 2024 arrived. No payment, no wire transfer, no explanation, silence. On January 2, 2025, Perry's attorneys issued a formal notice of default. On January 15, they sent the final demand. Pay in full within 30 days or foreclosure begins, and that is where things stand tonight. The language of the demand letter leaves no ambiguity. It does not threaten, it does not negotiate. It does not plead, it states facts: the loan amount, the accrued interest, the default, and the consequence. If payment is not received by the stated deadline, foreclosure proceedings will commence under California's non-judicial foreclosure statutes. That distinction matters. Non-judicial foreclosure means there is no courtroom drama, no prolonged litigation, no sympathetic jury. The process is administrative, procedural, and brutally efficient. Once the notice of default is recorded, it becomes public record. The press will see it, the public will see it, potential buyers will see it. After the statutory waiting period, a notice of trustee sale is filed. An auction date is set. The property is sold, often at a discount. If Tyler Perry is the highest bidder, he takes possession. If another buyer wins, Harry and Meghan still lose the home. Either way, eviction follows. The timeline from default to removal can be as short as 4 months. And the financial consequences extend far beyond losing the house. Equity is wiped out, credit is destroyed, future financing becomes nearly impossible. And if the auction price fails to cover the debt, Tyler Perry can pursue Harry and Meghan personally for the remaining balance, plus fees and interest. This is not theoretical, this is not symbolic. This is how foreclosure works. Behind the scenes, Harry and Meghan have entered crisis mode. Emergency meetings with financial advisors, calls to attorneys, consultations with wealth managers. Every possible avenue explored. They have considered approaching wealthy acquaintances for a bridge loan. That effort has failed. No one is willing to lend 8 figures to borrowers who defaulted on a friend. They have considered asking King Charles for assistance. That option carries conditions, humiliation, and public acknowledgement of failure, and was reportedly dismissed. They have considered selling the property themselves. But high-value real estate does not sell quickly, especially under distress. They have considered negotiating installment payments. Tyler Perry has refused. They have even considered bankruptcy. But bankruptcy would require full public disclosure of their finances and would not eliminate Perry's secured claim. Every door leads back to the same reality: they do not have the money. From Tyler Perry's perspective, this moment is not about recouping funds he cannot afford to lose. It is about principle. He opened his home, he paid for security, he offered trust. What he received was silence. Sources close to Perry say what angers him most is not the default, but the avoidance, the failure to communicate honestly. The assumption that generosity would translate into infinite patience. It did not. And there is another factor. Tyler Perry is a businessman, contracts matter, precedent matters, reputation matters. Allowing a high-profile default to go unenforced would signal that obligations to him are optional. That fame excuses failure. He will not allow that message to stand. Even if Harry and Meghan somehow find the funds before the deadline, the damage is irreversible. They will be remembered as the couple who borrowed millions from a friend who rescued them and could not repay him. Future partners will hesitate, investors will question, collaborators will reassess. This is reputational scar tissue that does not fade, and it exposes a deeper truth. Harry and Meghan left royal life in pursuit of independence, but independence requires discipline, planning, restraint. Instead, they built a lifestyle on anticipated income. They spent tomorrow's money today. They assumed opportunity would always outrun obligation. It did not. This foreclosure crisis is not an isolated failure. It is the logical conclusion of years of financial overreach. The Montecito mansion was meant to symbolize freedom. It may instead become the symbol of collapse. So now the countdown continues. 30 days, then the notice is filed, then the clock accelerates. Tyler Perry's money will be repaid one way or another. The only question is whether Harry and Meghan choose dignity, or whether the system strips it from them.